It's a beautiful day with a fine view. I'm going to use this location to talk about geoengineering. Geoengineering is the deliberate large-scale manipulation of the environment and its climates that has the potential to alter the Earth's complex system of weather networks. Let's start by having a quick refresh of condensation trails. Those of you that are interested in learning more about condensation trails, please click on the link to my previous video below. Condensation trails are not formed below 10,000 meters altitude or above minus 40 degrees Celsius, which is why the lower plane here produces no condensation trail. Condensation trails are only formed above 10,000 meters altitude and below minus 40 degrees Celsius. You can see a normal condensation trail being produced by the above plane here. Notice how the condensation trail disappears quickly. Bear in mind that this individual video was filmed on the roof of a 12-story building using up to 20 times zoom. See how quickly it disappears? Now that the previous condensation trail is fresh in your mind, doesn't the trail here seem rather strange? It's much lower and seems to be spreading into a silver haze rather than disappearing. Does that seem strange to you? It certainly doesn't disappear in the same way that the condensation trail in the previous video does, nor does it seem to be above 10,000 meters altitude. Let's look at the same area of the sky from the same angle 5 minutes later. If it is a condensation trail, it would have completely disappeared 3 minutes ago. Here is a normal plane producing no condensation trail flying across that area now. Notice how the trail hasn't disappeared. It looks exactly the same. Therefore, it is not a condensation trail. Now let's focus on a new location. Once again, observe the complete lack of any trail being produced here by this low-flying plane. Yet here, a trail is in the same location at roughly the same altitude just 5 minutes later. How did it get there? The previous plane, flying in almost exactly the same area, left no trail at all. It's now 5 minutes later, and we can clearly see a plane producing no condensation trail flying at roughly the same altitude as the trail. So the trail forms at altitudes beneath 10,000 meters and persists for longer than a condensation trail. That seems very strange, doesn't it? Another 5 minutes later, and another plane producing no condensation trail flying very close to the trail. The trail certainly hasn't disappeared, and is it above 10,000 meters altitude? I don't think so. Do you? 5 minutes later still, and this trail is still going strong, so it's safe to assume that it's not a condensation trail. Note the two planes flying at similar altitudes to the trail, leaving no condensation trail themselves. Due to the low altitude and the unusual persistence of the trail, we can therefore conclude that it is an artificial trail and not a condensation trail. Here we have a low-flying plane producing no condensation trail, flying right by the artificial trail from the previous videos. And what do we have right behind it? Another fresh artificial trail! So it seems like the trail that we have been observing in the last few videos is an older version of the one that has just appeared behind and above now. A key thing to notice in this video is the gaps in the newly formed artificial trail. If this really were a condensation trail, There is no way that these gaps could exist. Condensation trails are constant, and the fresher trail behind and above is not constant. This is further evidence that these are not condensation trails. Bear in mind that the videos that you have seen in this production were filmed on ground level using up to 10 times zoom. The videos in this production have outlined exactly what is and exactly what isn't a condensation trail. Either the trails in the sky are condensation trails or they are not. As we have ruled out the former, we are left to accept the latter. The trails such as this one being shown here are utterly artificial in nature. This is prime evidence of geoengineering. So why is this happening?